up, everybody? Welcome back to Voices from the Mausoleum, and welcome back to another episode of Found Footage Fridays with my co-host, Tom Reimer.
So I have to say, the movie we're talking about today, I swore I had never seen it. And you've been talking about this forever. Yes. And I was really excited to watch it. I sat down to watch. 30 seconds in, I said, I've seen this before.
So I don't know if that's good or bad. I guess we'll see.
No, I don't think it's either. But of course, I mean, I've watched so many of these things. I have no idea when I saw it, but I've definitely seen this movie before. After all this time of me saying, I gotta watch that, I gotta watch that, I gotta watch that, I've already seen it.
You have said that for months, literally months. Yeah. Like you've been saying that.
Yeah.
So maybe it was on the Found Footage Friday list. I mean, I'm sorry, I just said our series, not Found Footage Friday, the Found Footage Live.
I remember the very first thing we ever did before Found Footage Fridays even. I think that's probably why I watched it.
It was on the list, and then I had watched it. I'm pretty sure Tasha had actually told me about that one because she had already seen it. So then I watched it, and I was like, "Oh, this," or she had said it. So I think it ended up on that list, and maybe that's 2 years ago.
That might be why. Yeah, but no. So I had already seen this, but it was still good to have a refresher.
Yeah. All right, cool. So the movie that we're talking today is the 2017 found footage film Exist. Which I've been talking about this one, and I have so many things. Okay, so 5 friends travel to a remote cabin in the woods and plan to record their entire weekend. Their party plans are quickly ruined when they realize the property is in the middle of Bigfoot territory, and it is not happy to have trespassers.
I wasn't sure if we were going to spoil that part or not, but I guess that's in the description.
Well, there's a cover. A cover of the movie has a Bigfoot on the front of it.
Okay. Yeah, so this is 100% Bigfoot found footage.
Yes.
There's a few. What are some other Bigfoot found
Willow
footage?
Creek.
Willow Creek. There was one other we saw that was sort of Bigfoot-like.
Oh,
can't think of what it was called. You didn't like it.
Shoot, I didn't like it. I laughed a lot. I can't remember what that was, but that was on the list for Found Footage Live 2 years ago. Yeah, I can't remember the name of that one either. There's also an older one that's more documentary style called The Legend of Boggy Creek or the something of Boggy Creek.
I don't think I've seen that.
That's actually pretty good, but I can't remember 100% if it's found footage or if it's an actual documentary, but from what I remember, I think it falls under found footage. But anyway, so there's a few. The big one is Willow Creek. That's the one most people know.
Everybody knows that. But interestingly, this one though was it directed by Eduardo Sanchez of Blair Witch fame, produced, directed, something like that.
Directed.
Written, I don't know. Yep. But I was surprised. I did not. At least I don't recall that from the first watch. But definitely picked up on that this time around.
Yeah, I didn't remember that either because it's also done by Lionsgate.
Right.
So it's a bigger production than I think I realized.
Yeah, and I think that's actually something in this movie's favor in that it was a bigger production, but I don't think it had the feel of a movie. It feels like a small budget in a good way. It feels like what found footage I usually hope it feels like. Some of these bigger budget found footage movies feel overproduced and don't have quite the feel of like a Blair Witch or something like that. But this definitely, despite probably a lot more money being behind it, felt smaller.
Yeah, I would agree. I don't think it feels big budget at all, which is why I didn't remember either of those two things.
Right.
That it was Eduardo Sanchez or Lionsgate. I didn't.
But you were a huge fan of this. This is why.
So I'm like a Bigfoot a bit. Not, I wouldn't say I'm like a crazy, like I'm not super into it, but I am a Bigfoot enthusiast. I follow some accounts and podcasts that are Bigfoot related. I really am all about anything monster or cryptid related at all. I made one of the things I did for my channel was I went to a Bigfoot museum that's, sort of near where I live. Like, I'm into it. And so I had seen Willow Creek based on everyone loving it so much, and I hated it. It's absolutely one of my least favorite found footage movies.
And
I thought it
see,
was
I don't mind that one either. I don't mind that.
yeah. I did not like it. So when Tasha had said, "Oh, you know what? I bet you'll like this one," and she was, she hyped it up like it was really really good, and I was like, "Oh, it's Bigfoot. Like it has so much potential to be really really good. We'll see how it goes." And then I went and I watched it, a couple years ago now or whenever it was, and I was blown away. It easily became a favorite of mine. Like I've seen it a couple of times now, and I think I become a bigger fan every time I watch it. It's a unique story in my opinion. One of the things, which I'll wait until we get into spoilers, that I thought was really well done pertains to Bigfoot specifically. The environment felt very realistic. The tension and the dread and the worries, that all felt very real to me.
Yep.
I genuinely did not expect it to end the way that it did, and I mean that in a positive way. It just really blew all of my expectations like out of the water.
Yeah. And I think this is one of those movies that doesn't show too much too soon,
No, it
or
really
just too
doesn't.
much in general. I feel like, but also it's not one of those movies that doesn't show anything either. I feel like
No,
this
you get a
is,
little, it's a nice balance, I think.
yeah. I think for me, one thing I didn't like as much about this movie, interestingly, were the characters. I
The
didn't like them
human.
as much. I thought a lot of the scenario was believable. I think a lot of it looked like real footage. I thought they were sort of annoying, a few of them. So,
Yeah.
but um, but it is a good movie. I'd be curious to see how you rate this one.
Yeah. Is that my cue to go first?
Uh, you should definitely go first.
Okay. Yeah, so as I've already said, I really like it. I'm a huge advocate for this one. It definitely to me is way better than Willow Creek as far as entertainment value, like the execution of the story and the buildup of all the moments. And there's some moments that I remember watching this and being, like really unnerved, like scared, like unsettled, because there's some things that build up where you do feel like you're in the moment and you're like, oh, like our life's in danger, like this is scary. If something like this were to happen in real life, this is scary.
Yep.
And it did a really good job of making me feel that. So I thought, all like good things across the board. As far as my rating, if I had to rate Exist on our typical VHS tape scale, I would probably give it an 8.5.
Wow. Okay. 8.5.
Were you thinking it was
Good.
going to be higher?
Nope. I think I think right around there is where I
You were
thought.
gonna get. You probably guessed. I think I probably know what you're gonna say too. But yeah, it's not perfect. I do think some of the characters are definitely the weaker links. I think there's a couple of things that kind of drag on a little bit, but overall, it was a pretty convincing Bigfoot film, and I really liked the way. And again, I'll wait until we get into spoilers to say specifically the thing I'm thinking of, but I really liked the way they portrayed Bigfoot in this, as far as a
Yeah.
creature, like not just
Sure.
the way
That
he
was good.
looks, but it was really good, and it was really different from other things that we've seen. So yeah, so 8.5 for me.
Speaking of other things that we've seen, was the movie Tahoe Joe? Was that a Bigfoot movie? I forget.
Oh shoot, that one was a
That
Bigfoot
one
movie.
was too, right? There's like at least 4 or 5
Yeah, there's a
Bigfoot found
few.
footage movies.
I wish I could remember the other one that had multiple Bigfoots in it, but I cannot remember what
It,
it's called.
it does sort of Bigfoot sort of sets itself up well for found footage films. I mean, it is.
Oh,
I mean,
it's so
he's this
true.
deep in the woods. I mean,
Mhm.
it's perfect. So,
It genuinely is.
um,
Could not agree more.
so you know what? One thing, and maybe this is why I don't rate it. I'm not spoiler. I'm not going to rate it quite as high as you. One thing that I liked, and I'm not saying I liked Willow Creek better, but one thing I did like better in Willow Creek was the exposition in the beginning, with sort of them really going out searching for Bigfoot, getting all the lore about Bigfoot, like going to those tourist traps and all that stuff. I liked that
Sure.
in that movie.
Yeah.
Um,
Whereas this is an accident,
yeah, exactly.
an
And
accidental
I
finding.
can't remember the first time I watched this. I guess I probably did know what this was about going into it. The first time I watched it. I'm gonna rate this movie a 6.5, and I think I would have rated it, more tapes out of 10 if the characters hadn't been so grating. Some of them. I mean,
really?
the guy who's doing most of the filming, who's sort of this like Charlie Day sort of character. You know what I mean by that?
I do.
And he wasn't even the worst. I don't even think he was the worst in the movie.
I do not think he was the worst. I think the worst was not the friend that has the girl, the one is one of the other friends, not the main friend, but the other guy that's with him.
Sure, yeah.
He was probably my least favorite.
Yeah,
I don't know their names.
I do not either.
I'm not good at that anyway, but I don't know their names.
And I also felt like this was definitely one of those movies, like, where I was, if I was really invested in it, I would have been screaming at the TV, like, "What are you doing?" Like,
yeah,
just hide out, wait it out, get out of there. Yeah. I don't know. Every decision they make is the wrong decision in this movie.
Well, yeah, and I think my rating comes from similar to like how I did Open Water.
Mm-hmm.
The rating is what it is because of my love of what they did with Bigfoot specifically. Like,
which is the most important thing in the movie, to be fair.
So that's the part that I think they won me over with that part specifically. So I was, even though, it's kind of like, like Monster Project's like one of my favorite found footage movies ever. And it has a character in it that almost ruined the entire film for me. And it's still on my top list for found footage. Like, I just reach a point where I'm able to say, I really love monsters and cryptids, obviously. And so I'm such an easy person to get, like, all of that other stuff. You can get that in on me because I'm going to be so focused on the monster side of things. And it's very similar to like how I talked about, Open Water.
But then again, you love Bigfoot, but you didn't like Willow Creek or Tahoe Joe or that other movie that we can't think of the name for right now. Yeah, that was the one that had like the hunting party in it. Like, what I'm talking about? That was really not good.
I'm gonna try to steal and look it up while we're talking. But yeah, I think like it's one of those things where it's like I really think it's because of the way they handled the shots of the Bigfoot itself.
Yeah,
this gave us more Bigfoot than Willow Creek. Willow Creek did
a lot more. Yep,
a lot more. And that was one of my biggest complaints. And I'm weird about this. I do not like straight rips from Blair Witch, but they had that scene in the tent specifically in
Willow Creek. Yep.
Yeah, where they do the motion on the outside of the tent, and I was like, so mad about that. So that kind of stuff just like turns me off.
Oh yeah, yeah. There was no tent in this movie, so it was a cabin.
It was a cabin. And the reason for going to the cabin was fine. Like, I didn't have a problem with any of that. It's just, some of the characters were weak. And then I think, like I said, there's some parts in the middle that are slow.
A little bit.
Not crazy, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, so sorry, I was about to spoil the movie. I don't want to do that.
Embedded.
So there were there were scenes like that I felt were not believable. I felt that there were moments where, again, how often have we said this? Not believable that they were still filming, sort of stuff. But as far as the suspense, the build up, the scary moments were all really good. Were really scary. There's a particular scene, which happens, somewhat of a tunnel. I'll just say that. That was pretty freaky. So there's really some unique stuff here. And I would just say the whole angle of why Bigfoot is upset in the first place is really unique. There is an explanation. And I would say most of these movies there's not really a reason that Bigfoot is coming after everybody, but there is in this movie.
Yes.
Pretty good. I would say, believable sort of reason Bigfoot might be mad.
I'm inclined to agree. That's a big part of one of the other things about the way they set up Bigfoot that I really loved.
Right? Because Bigfoot, I believe, if there's such thing as Bigfoot, that Bigfoot wouldn't just randomly be attacking people. In fact, Bigfoot would be hiding away from humans, that's why we don't see Bigfoot. So there has to be a reason Bigfoot would really want to do people harm. And there's a reason, a big reason in this movie.
Yep.
So that was solid.
Yeah, I agree. You want to spoil?
This one, though, I don't, I just wanted to say before we spoil it, I think this one's interesting in that you're right. Like, everyone always talks about Willow Creek. It's interesting that this one, because I feel like at worst, it's just as good as Willow Creek. And I feel like it's probably a little bit better. And you think it definitely is better.
I think it's miles better.
How is this one also having the backing of Eduardo Sanchez and that film company? Like, how is this one not on more people's radar? Is it older? I don't even. How old is
2017.
So it's not. I mean, Willow Creek can't be. It's got to be from around the same time, I would assume.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So this one came out in 2017. And then Willow Creek was 2013. I'm sorry, 2014. My bad. 2014. Willow Creek was 2013. Exist is 2014.
So right around the same time. Within a year of each other. Yeah. So Willow Creek came out first.
The other movie we were thinking of is Embedded.
Embedded. Okay, that's why you said that then. Okay.
Yeah.
Embedded. Yeah.
You were on a roll, though. I was just going to let you.
I will say the acting was not great in Embedded. While we're on this, the acting was not great, but I liked the movie better than Tahoe Joe.
I think I would agree.
I think Tahoe Joe
Embedded made me laugh a lot. There was a lot of moments.
Yeah.
I sent, there was one screen in particular where something is like the face of this guy is like coming out of the trees because he's like running or something, but the face was so funny. I had to like rewind it and watch it multiple times. And then I recorded it and sent it to Tasha because I was like, this movie has me cracking up. It was so silly.
That's a great one. So that one's like one of those, like, so bad it's good. It
was very entertaining. High entertainment.
Like, I would watch that with friends. You know what I mean? Yeah. So yeah, let's spoil this. Let's spoil this movie.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
the thing that I loved about the Bigfoot that I was just kind of waiting to say something more detailed is he's smart. Like, really smart.
They make him really intelligent. Yeah.
They make him very intelligent, which plays into the emotional stuff. And then, like you were talking about, the overall motivation. Yep. And so I have never seen a movie, or let alone not even just found footage, any movie that is is meant for entertainment purposes. I have never seen a Bigfoot portrayed as a creature of intelligence.
Interesting.
It's always dumb. Or like you said, like mindlessly violent.
Right.
No reason.
Well, you could point at most monster movies, the motivation of the monster or the bad thing is almost never rooted in something good. It's almost never, sometimes it's not just, most often it's not justified at all.
No, it's usually not. It's just, well, it's a monster and that's what monsters do.
Right.
And
so
I'm a sucker for monsters or good things, like Nightbreed. I love that movie.
Oh yeah.
The monsters are the goodies. Like, I love that. And I'm like, yeah, men are the problem. Like, humankind is the problem. Like, anyway, so but I love that they made him smart. That was one of my favorite things.
In this movie, you get right off the bat, you have a hint that there may be a reason.
Yes.
That this is happening. And so this group of friends is going to one of their uncle's cabins. I think two of the characters are brothers, I think.
Yeah, I think something like
I
that.
think
Yeah, that
so.
sounds right. Yeah.
And one of them's filming everything. Although I'm not sure. Do we ever get a reason why he's filming everything?
He's just our obsessive video guy. That's all.
He's just our obsessive video. Yeah, he's what's his face from Scream. Your favorite character from Scream.
Randy.
Yeah, he's the Randy of this movie,
Yeah,
right?
because
I mean,
and he
sort of.
makes references to stuff too, right?
Yeah,
Am I crazy? Am I remembering that right? Where
yeah,
he makes
because
references to like recording stuff and
yeah, yeah, he's like an AV. He's the audiovisual kind of guy, like techie.
just
Yeah,
into it, right?
yeah, and he sets up. So they go to this their uncle's cabin in the woods,
Hmm.
which is in really poor shape. But driving there, it's really dark back roads, and like almost right off the bat, they hit something. You don't really know what it is. Could be a deer. Um, they end up finding like fur in the fender or in the
Hmm.
grill the next morning, but you don't ever really see. There's just like a glimpse of something when they rewind the footage.
Hmm.
Um, that we all can see is probably a Bigfoot kind of something
Something.
right off the bat. Um, and they go to this really decrepit cabin. There's like a wild boar living in it when they get there. Um,
That
and
part did get me. I jumped when
yeah,
that part happened.
it's a jump scare.
It's a
It's
jump scare, but it
just
was
to
a
be a
good
jump
one. I
scare.
wasn't too angry about it. It was a necessary fun moment for the rest of the setup, but it did get me.
And there's really great setup that their uncle supposedly doesn't come out there anymore because something happened out there, but we don't know what. And that's where it starts.
Yeah.
And then as they're there, stuff starts happening, right?
Yep. They start hearing stuff, seeing stuff. Some of my favorite shots as things start really amping up is the ones from the cameras in the trees.
Yeah, he has a lot of cameras he sets up in the trees pointed at
Yeah,
the
so it's
cabin
like
mostly.
so you can see like the porch. Like so the view from one of them is like long like this and the house is like right here and the front door is like right here. So you're just like looking at this long shot and you can see kind of the side and then most of the front and then of course all the trees and stuff beside it. And so we start getting the noises and the whimper, the sad kind of sounds that we're hearing and they're like, oh, what could that be? And they start getting a little uncomfortable, but nothing too crazy yet. But some of those shots where it's in the tree and you're looking at the house in the woods or the cabin in the woods, and you just see just a little bit. Like I love that so much because that's like an homage to like Bigfoot like sighting videos,
Oh
like
yeah,
these really just short, quick, just enough so that
yeah.
you're questioning what you're seeing. Like I really like
That's
that.
I mean that's the very first shot after they hit him, hit it, with the car at the beginning of the movie, and then yeah, every
Yeah,
shot afterwards is
yeah,
a quick little glimpse here and a quick little glimpse there.
yeah,
But then there are moments where it becomes like a trapped in a house sort of situation.
yep.
And they're barricading doors and barricading windows. And I would say that my favorite part of this movie is actually uh, an auditory thing. It's the sound that Bigfoot makes, and it's where we first like hear Bigfoot, and
The
it's
sound
awesome.
design is so good in this film in general because even the whining we get at the beginning before we get those closer sounds where he's like
Yeah,
actually like on the porch and all that stuff, it's
yeah,
all like very like okay. So when I went to the Bigfoot Museum, they had like these spaces, these tables, whatever you want to call them, where you could put on headphones and you could
mhm,
listen to sounds that hunters and people who Bigfoot enthusiasts have captured over the years that don't add up to anything they've ever captured on the animals that live in that area or whatever. And so
yeah,
I'm listening to this. I'm like, whoever did this movie is absolutely like a Bigfoot enthusiast because some of
definitely.
those sounds were things I swear to you I was hearing similar things to in the footage or the whatever the things that were captured. And so I was just like, the sound design totally agree. Super big strength in this. It was very effective.
But yeah, but at the beginning, it's almost like this eerie moaning out in the
Yeah.
woods, right? Yeah, which
Yeah.
I love. I love that.
Yeah, I thought that was really good. Well, and it's like I didn't really think about it sounding like sad until one of the characters says that it sounds like it's crying or something,
Yeah,
something to that effect.
yeah,
And then I was like, that's because y'all hit it with a car. Like that was my first thought
right. Yeah,
was because that's obviously before we know too much more about the movie. But I was like, it's because y'all hit him with a car. Like I would
absolutely.
cry too. Um, but
So,
yeah, sounds like
and then the things like trying to break in and get at them. Um, the big mistake is when one of the guys decides to ride his. I guess the car is like destroyed, which is nuts too.
oh,
Um,
they come outside. It has like he had bashed it up with a log, like a tree.
yeah, but like
Yeah.
at that point, why would all of them not have just like stayed together and just gotten out of there, or like hunkered down? I don't know, like to send one of them out on a bike, like it's just asking for trouble, which is what they get. He never comes back, basically.
It was kind of a cool shot though, which I feel like is probably the point.
Which one? Which one?
When he's on the bike, like when he's
Oh
on the
yeah.
bike and he's
So
got the
I actually did. He have two cameras? Because if he didn't have two cameras, I question what was
shots
going the shots, because there were two different angles.
front and yep.
There was like
The,
a front shot looking at him, and then there's one looking at the Bigfoot running alongside him, which is an awesome shot. But who was filming that? I don't know.
yeah,
Was that one of those like accident, like unexplained camera angles that we sometimes
maybe.
see in found footage? Like,
Yeah, it might be.
unless he had unless there's a camera on his helmet and there's a camera on the front of the bike. But like, why would he be filming himself
Well, and it's not like
riding
it would have
away?
made sense for him to take the one that's looking at him to pick it up and then move it. That wouldn't make sense because he
Well,
would have fallen.
why did it make sense that he was filming any at all right then?
So we could get the cool shot of
Sure,
no, that's
sure.
the only reason though, because I mean the guy that went isn't even the AV or the
No,
tech person. It's
because
the brother.
no, it didn't make any sense. And unfortunately, we've seen so many of these movies now. They're like, I sometimes ruin it for myself. I'll be watching and I'll be like, no, why? Why are you filming right now? That, there's, where is that camera angle coming from? Like, I can't just relax sometimes. And I think that happened for me during that specific scene,
Yeah.
unfortunately.
Yeah.
But so yeah, he doesn't come back, and the Bigfoot does get in, right? And
I love that part though, where they go into like the cellar in the
yeah,
cabin and the
yeah,
Bigfoot just like
tearing up the floor. Yeah,
oh, I love it so much. That was so good.
and they found
Strong,
some old
smart.
gun. Yeah,
Loved
they,
it.
they shoot it with some old gun, and it's bleeding all
That
over the
part was a
place
little
and runs up
clunky.
a little bit,
The gun
little
part
quick.
was a little clunky, but
Yeah,
that scene though where the Bigfoot rips off the stuff off the oh my god, I thought that was so well done. That
very
looked
well done.
so good.
So they must have had somebody in a Bigfoot costume, right? Some like
Surely.
gigantic human being. Yeah,
Surely.
yeah,
Yes.
that was really well done.
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah.
And so then, well, eventually they run out. The other guy never comes back, so they have to leave and go in
This
search
is
of
getting to
him.
my favorite part.
And they hear him eventually in the woods, and he's like Bigfoot's nest or lair, right? Is like a tunnel underground, and the Charlie Day character has to like crawl in there to get him. It's like I don't know if his legs are broken or whatever.
Yeah.
But they get him. They shoot another Bigfoot in there, I guess, or they think they do. And they get him out. What did they, but they discover that there was potentially why this Bigfoot was reacting like this was that one of them had been killed, and that's where I need a little bit of clarification. So was it supposed to be a Bigfoot baby that was killed, or
That's what I was thinking. And then I was thinking, the connection being that the uncle killed it.
Oh, see, that's not where I went.
Where'd you go?
I think that's who they hit with the car.
The baby one?
Yeah. Well, because if the uncle hadn't been there in forever. That's why the place
Was it
had
a
been.
super long time? I thought it
Yes,
was
that's
like.
why. No, that's why the cabin was like falling into disrepair. He hadn't been there in a really long time.
Oh, I was thinking it was his because it came to the
No,
cabin. So, or because when it went to the cabin to go after them. So I thought it was like
but I
familiar.
think it's because it chased them from the road after they hit it.
Then that makes more sense then. Okay, I'm with you.
I
Okay.
think, but I could be wrong. But I think they hit its baby, and
Yes,
then
I
it
did.
came
I
after that.
did get the impression it was child related.
But it could have been the uncle. I guess that part's unclear. It's unclear what exactly that was. But I had the thought the uncle hadn't been there in quite some time, which is why
You
there was
might
a
be
pig.
right. I mean, I knew the
There
place
was a
was a
pig.
mess.
Well, there's a pig living in there too. I mean, it'd been a while,
Yeah.
I think. Although there was still electricity in the place somehow.
But I think what you're saying makes more sense. When I watched it, I was thinking the one that came after them was the one that was hurt and was maybe coming from the cat. I don't know. Like I just kind of
Could be.
like a Jaws revenge story. I don't know. Like
Yeah, it was a revenge. I think either way, it was.
it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
So because either way, the motivation is one of its family has been murdered.
Yes.
And that is why they are getting this overly aggressive and combative Bigfoot experience.
Right. So
Yeah.
talk about the end. You said you didn't expect the end.
Yeah, well, that's because I didn't put all the pieces together until the end, right? And then, okay, so first, what is it that they're in? Is it like a camper?
Yes.
It's like a camper, like one of those pop-up kind.
Yep.
Right. So they get into this camp. They're like, they are beaten to heck. Like they are like barely hanging on to their insanity in their lives. And they get into this little like pop-up camper that's kind of abandoned. Looks like it's kind of been there for a little bit. And I love these shots because the Bigfoot's like, absolutely, you're not getting away with this. Like, so they're in there, but the scenes of the camper that lead us to the final couple shots of the film is like, the movement of it when it's moving, and it's like at first it just looks like it's going in circles, and then it and then you realize he's pushing it over like like a small ledge. So then it like flips over the edge, and you've got these people inside, and you've got all this stuff going everywhere. You get the couple like little shots of the Bigfoot as it's like hitting the camper. I loved all of that. It was so chaotic. I loved it so much. It was so well done. And so the thing I love about the ending was like this weird mutual understanding between beast and man. It was like this like revenge had been solidified. That it had taken a life. There was this weird moment between the Bigfoot and the human as like, we're even.
Yeah. Although the Bigfoot takes a bunch of lives.
Yeah.
To be fair.
It's with interest, right?
Sure. I guess so. Yeah, but it's nice. I would not say it's exactly even at the end. I think
he feels like
he feels vindicated. Yes.
He feels vindicated because there's this very like interesting
he
moment.
or
he or she. Yeah. They.
Mm-hmm. Could be Mama Bigfoot. We don't know.
It could be the mom Bigfoot, but either that would actually make more sense.
Not that's what I thought.
But see, moms are crazy, and so so
you said it.
So I think like, but I didn't expect that. Like it's when we always say this, like when we watch found footage, you just expect everyone died. Like you just immediately are like everyone died, a horrible death, and that's the end of it. So to have this moment of like, I don't know, like it was just really, I didn't expect that. I really expected Bigfoot to knock his head off his shoulders. That's what I thought was going to happen. And then when they just kind of do this like bow of understanding and mutual, like we're done, I was like, is this really how this movie is going to end?
It is.
But it did. And I liked it. I liked it not necessarily because it makes sense, right? But I liked it because it was so different. And they were giving us everything that everyone else avoids when it comes to Bigfoot. Like it had a family. It was super intelligent. It was defending the ones that it loved, and it backed off. It made the very human decision to say, no more, right? And so it just made all of those other pieces of the Bigfoot that had been happening just really come together for me. And I was like, I really liked that. That was good.
Yeah. Yeah, they nailed the ending. I have no problems with that.
So you like the ending too. That's good.
A lot. Yeah, it was really unique. I feel like a lot of times found footage movies, the endings are not satisfying. at all sometimes, and this one definitely is. So, highly recommend this movie. Not one of my highest rated, but I think that's more of a personal. We've talked about this before. Personally, like what I love in found footage.
Yeah.
I did like the being deep in the woods. I did really like that.
It had the formula to be both of our like things.
It did.
But this definitely is more an angel found footage movie just because of some of the other elements involved in it. But yeah.
I would that.
It's literally available everywhere. It's on YouTube for free, Tubi, Pluto, Amazon, Plex, Freevee. You can watch it on all of those for free. I recommend Amazon if you have it, because that's going to be less ads, no ads, whatever.
I've heard of this Amazon before. There's no excuse for you to watch this one. So get out there.
Yeah, definitely go watch it. It's good.
Exists.
Yeah, so next week
is
two things. I'm going to say one thing, and then I'll let you say what we're going to do next.
Okay.
So starting next Monday, Tom and I are going to be posting surveys for our 50th episode.
So this is episode 48, by the way.
This is 48. Yep,
48.
So 2 more. And so we'll give more details about exactly what we're doing as we get closer. But I just wanted to say this on the episode so people watching will know. There are going to be surveys posted on, we'll do them on Twitter and Instagram stories. But we are doing mainstream found footage films that we have not covered yet, minus Blair Witch. So that'll be things like, we'll probably do Ganjiam. We'll probably do, I had a whole list, like we're working on it, but
Lake Mungo,
like the ones that a lot of people are familiar with and that a lot of people really know. If there is what you consider mainstream found footage film that you want us to consider to put in the survey, leave in the comments below. We're not going to know everything, so leave it and let us know. But those will start next week. We're going to get it down to 2. So we'll do some brackets or something, but that'll start next week. So, and then just keep an eye out on the socials for Twitter and Instagram.
All right.
What are we talking next week?
Next week, Afflicted is the name of the movie. And I don't want to say what it's about because that would spoil the entire movie. So if you want to know, stay tuned. Next Friday, we're talking Afflicted.
Yep. So have a great rest of your Friday. Enjoy your weekend. And Tom and I will see you next Friday.
See you then.